Hello everybody, today this is just going to be a video showing off Affliction and how Affliction works in the game currently. Now this did receive sort of like an update a while ago which did seem to stop this from working, but then it's reworking again after patch 11.5 and you can just meteor spam again. Now this is something I used to have fun doing in my endurance and just mucking around, just spamming out these meteors. So how this is going to work is the Affliction, when you damage the targets, will actually count as triggers towards the 6th perk of the weapon that you switch to. So what the Storm King's Fury does, which is this weapon, it is stacks up to 7 times, which is one of these little purple dots around the actual fist. So if we look here, every time we hit an enemy we're going to gain one of these little charge dots. However, when we hit it with the Affliction, we gain 1 dot per each dot of Affliction. So if we're hitting multiple targets and then switching and then we're killing either a load of targets, but you want to try and do the dots of Affliction, these dots will then give one of these little purple balls for each dot of damage that it does, as the Affliction dots will also count as doing damage to it with this weapon, charging it up. So for instance, if I was to hit this Husky Hust one time, quickly switch, we'll see each time the Affliction goes off it gives me an extra ball, and then I can use this to summon meteors. Here if we try and line 2 up and quickly double tap him, oh well, he died so I don't get the Affliction ticks off there, but we'll see if we get these. So we'll try again, see if we can hit this lobber in the background. If we can just get the extra ticks, we should get a little bit more dots this time. So there we go, we've got 5 dots this time, and this is more. So this would be from the 2 Affliction ticks from both these enemies. Now if I was to, you can do it with a group of enemies. Let me take these out. So something you can do with the Dragon's Roar, as it will go through a load of enemies, is you can fire one shot and each of the ticks on each of the enemies will give you 1 dot. Hold up. There we go, we've hit 2. And okay, no, so you need shots, so each shot. So if we can fire a couple. Come on, let me get the... There you go. So different shots of the gun, ticking individually, add up and give this. So there we go. Now, however, this Affliction effect, where it applies the 6th effect of the next weapon, because it's almost treating it as if that weapon is hitting the actual target, doesn't just apply to this mythic hammer. Something you can also do it with is other weapons. So if we pull out something like one of these legacy Krypton pistols, I'll just show you how it will work. So we'll just, here we go, we've got him. If we tap it and then switch, we'll get the legacy perk, which is hitting an afflicted target causes a small knockback AoE around them. Now what's happening is the Affliction is hitting the target, it ticks for the damage, but when it ticks whilst we're holding another weapon, that will then count as the weapon that you are holding. So we let the tick happen and we're holding a different weapon, and this will count as it applying the damage condition with this gun, thus triggering that 6th perk, or in this case the 5th perk. This can be used with many other different weapons, something like the Plasmatron. Okay, so this would be critical hits, cause this kind of explosion effect. So where's Mr. Husky? Here he comes. So if we hit him and then switch, oh, he's dead. Okay, we need a new Mr. Husky. She'll do. Alright. So if we switch, here we go. You can see the little perk of this, which is critical hits cause 7 exploding projectiles to scatter around the surrounding area. This is what's being caused through hitting her, and then we switch. Okay, so we haven't got that off that time. Try and get the critical hit. No. Nope. We'll find other enemies. There should be another encampment around here. There we go. So we'll just Dunk. One card banner down here. Okay, oh that's not, might be a bit too close. So we've got some enemies here. What we're going to do, just shoot them, and we can see those little damage balls coming off. So again, just showing off this Plasmatron. Hit him, switch to it. No, we haven't critical, but you'll still see that the fist will still charge up. So even if it might not go off for that effect, we can still see that the fist is actually charging up from the Affliction dots. So we're gonna, there we go, critical the hit that time. We're just going to test some other guns. So if we switch to another weapon now, we will also look at something like the Candy Corn. Now the Candy Corn's a pretty funny one, because if you know the perk of it, it eliminating enemies with this weapon can spawn healing candy pickups. So this is a really fun one. So what we're going to do is we'll shoot some of these, switch to the Candy Corn. Oh, give me a sec. So hopefully we can kill them with the Affliction. Come on. Nope. So if we try and kill them with the Affliction, hopefully they'll burn out, and there we go. He will drop a Candy Corn droplet. Now we haven't used a single bullet in this weapon, and we'll see that it is still full durability. Now the Candy Corn is very, very funny when used with a weapon which applies mass affliction to an area, much like this Noble Launcher. So if we just get the Noble Launcher now, just wait for them to all kind of congregate towards us, fire this, quickly switch weapon, and we will see a bunch of healing candies drop on the floor. There wasn't that many that time. I'll try and get a second lot in. Give me a second. There we go, if we just charge this up. And we'll try and bring them over a little bit and shoot and switch. And we'll see more healing candies come up along the floor here. Now, these still act the same. You can still run across, pick them up, and these will still heal you. So yeah, basically this, as long as the condition is properly met by the weapon you're going to be hitting it with, so if it's like a headshot perk, it needs to be hitting the head, and then the affliction still continue on afterwards. You can then switch to other weapons. So if I wanted to apply extra, say, snare, so we won't use the Dragon's Roar in this instance, as it's already got the snare on it, but if I use this Noble Launcher, which has got affliction on it, but no snare, what we'll do is then switch it to a Wraith. Okay, so this Wraith should then apply the slow to it. What is it? It's snares the target. Okay. So if we get ready with the Noble Launcher, oh, it's going to do way too much damage. Hopefully we can hit the big one. Then we switch to this weapon. They should also be slowed. So you can see there's a slow around them, the slowing effect. It's a bit hard to see there. Try again. So if we hit them with the Noble Launcher now, and then we switch, hopefully we'll get to see the slow effect applied onto the enemies. So if we try and aim for these big ones, and quickly switch, hopefully we'll get to see the slowing effect applied onto them. Nope. Try again. If you see it, there you go. You see the little yellow things going downwards on their body. That is the snare effect being applied. Now we haven't shot them with the Wraith Ball. Now just to show you, to prove that that is the snare, if we quickly just summon them again, I'll shoot them with the Affliction. So we find these dudes. So this is the Affliction on its own. Okay. And then this is the snare. We should see those little yellow things that are going downwards on their body. So that is the snare. And that will be slowing their movement. So yeah, this just shows that the Affliction can be used with any kind of combination of other 6 perk, as long as you switch to the weapon, either when they're taking the damage or when the ticks of the so you want to do it when the ticks of Affliction are going off and being able to burn them. So what we'll notice here is in the schematics you'll see that there's a lot of fun kind of different 6 perks that we can have. Things such as the candy corn with the candy pickups, the AoE from the Krypton or like the Dragon's Roars, like legacy weapons, and things such as like the Plasmatrons, the sort of energy set where you can get these sort of exploding projectiles or ring area explosions that can cause from either causing critical hits or eliminating enemies. Now this is where some kind of fun thing can come into play, where you start sort of mixing in these other kind of perks by switching to another weapon when the Affliction is active. So something that could be fun to try would be a Founder's Revolt, or even something else to see the effects it would have. But if we find something like, say, a headshot explosion one, I haven't even leveled up my Dragon's Roar, so well, we already know that the headshot explosion on the Dragon's Roar will already trigger on itself to do an explosion if you hit it in the head. So if this was a headshot explosion Dragon's Roar, if we shot them to the head and the Affliction then kills them, then they will actually explode. So we've got a big one here. If we just shoot him in the head.
Please.
Come on, big boy. So if we just let the Affliction burn him out, and kaboom, he exploded. Now that's because the shot was the headshot and the Affliction had been able to finish him off, thus fulfilling the condition of the headshot elimination causes the explosion, and then obviously he explodes for 30% the weapon damage, which, to be honest, is huge. You see these explosions, really, they're massive. Damn, it's really it's like whoa man, whoa, he's doing the Matrix here. Look, he's bullet dodging. Yo Neo, calm down, he's got bullets. And if we can just let him pop, come on. Oh right, one headshot and boom, off he goes, he explodes. So yeah, that is with the Dragon Rifle with the headshot eliminations. The explosion causes damage to 0.5 percentiles for 30% weapon damage. And this is just an epic version. So it does some serious damage with that explosion. So we already know that the Dragon's Roar, if you had a headshot explosion perk on it, the Affliction from its own weapon will still trigger the explosion on the headshot. As long as you get a headshot, will still explode on the head. However, what we're going to try now is try switching to an Obliterator, which has the headshot perk on it. So if we just headshot one of them now, we'll notice we get a nice explosion. Now this is without any modifiers, so there's no modifiers on this, so there isn't anything else causing the headshot explosions. So I've got a little encampment here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to shoot one of these in the head and then switch to the headshot explosion perk. So we switch and there we go, we got the explosion. I'll show it again. Oh, no, we just killed him that time. Let's see if we can get him to explode. Oh, well that one behind exploded. Must have hit him going all the way through. I'll just slow these ones, it might make it a little easier. So we go, we got one in the slow field. And if we then switch, we saw, there we go, he exploded. Now I didn't fire a single shot of that weapon. Again, and switch. And this weapon doesn't have any headshot explosion on it, it is just the Obliterator. So yeah, as seen, there are many sort of combinations of ways you can play around with doing this Affliction. Also, something you can actually do is actually just sort of stack Affliction for a bit longer as well. So if we go find somewhere, just find an individual husk, will be easier to see. So we've got one guy here. Now what we're going to try in this test is we're actually just going to show double stacking Affliction. So whereas the Dragon's Roar has only its own innate Affliction and the Noble Launcher has Affliction, what we're just going to see is sort of how many ticks of Affliction we get from just the one Dragon's Roar shot. So this is the Dragon's Roar on its own. Wow, okay. Just fall off and ruin it. Alright. So here we go. It's so hard to test, really, to get good footage. Right, so there we go. So if we were to shoot him now, we'll see that these are getting only so many Affliction ticks. Again, shooting him just once with the Dragon's Roar, that's the amount of ticks he's going to get. Whereas if I change over to something else, so we'll use the Noble Launcher. Oh, miss. You can see these ticks here. So you get more ticks off of one of these with the actual Affliction stack. Will last for like you'll see more individual ticks there. So comparing the Dragon's Roar to another weapon like the Noble Launcher with an Affliction perk on it as the 6th perk, the Dragon's Roar is going to do 3 ticks of damage, whereas the Noble Launcher is going to be doing 6. Now this will actually last then for over the 6 seconds, whereas it appears the Dragon's Roar only lasts 4 and 3. So where we're already... Slow down, you. Right. So where we're already familiar with the Dragon's Roar having the 3 ticks of the damage, what we can do is actually do the ticks of damage and switch to another Affliction weapon, thus triggering the extra Affliction time. So we'll see what's happening is the Affliction is really dragging out for a lot longer there. So again, if we hit him with this weapon, see the Affliction ticks, switch another gun, you will have seen that the Affliction carries on for longer than if we just hit him with the one shot of the Dragon's Roar. Thus meaning that we can also use the Affliction dots to then apply another Affliction, and yeah, you kind of extend the duration of the Affliction ticks. However, they might not be ticking for as much. So yeah. So yeah, my favourite thing to take away from all of this is really the way that the sort of large area of effect Affliction will work with the hammer, the mythic hammer. How you can do something like this, quickly switch to another weapon, and then you've got instant meteor spam. And you can just repeat this over and over again, provided you don't get shot down like that. But it's quite funny just doing endurance because you get so many enemies coming through. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Just a little bit of fun. I honestly think Affliction's a bit wacky in the game, but definitely kind of enjoy playing around with it, especially when there's loads of enemies and you can hammer spam. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and goodbye.